Hello guys, Omni here, fresh off of the third episode of The Mandalorian, and oh my god, this episode was just so freaking good. I gotta say, for so many years, this is probably the best Star Wars anything I've seen in a long time, man. Holy crap. Like, I gotta try not to swear, man, because I got so excited when I was pretty much just like holy essing it the entire time I was watching this movie. Oh my god. I love this episode. I said a little bit that, the last episode kind of faltered just a little bit compared to the first episode, but this one, I don't care. This one just took it to freaking 11 and gave me so many things that I just had to like woo woo and clap because the opening of this episode, again, if you haven't watched this episode, this is fresh. The episode just dropped. So this is going to contain spoilers. I'm going to talk about this because I got to talk about this. So he shows back up at the bounty hub, goes right into the town with Baby Yoda. And again, that is what I'm going to call him until we have a name for either this specific creature, the species, or they name this child. It's Baby Yoda. It is a Baby Yoda. And if the Camino theory with the patch on the doctor is any kind of indicator that might be panned out, we know that Qui-Gon Jinn had some kind of record of Yoda's DNA. So it's very plausible that this might even be a clone of Yoda. That's why it's so valuable and also so much of a threat. We'll come to a little bit. I wanted to talk about that we find out about at least a little bit about what they were trying to do with it. But anyway, he's returning it back into this town where he got the bounty in the first place. Just open egg, just hovering right in. I feel like that was a little bit of a bold thing to do, just having it looking around, taking in all the sights, but also very much being exposed to everybody else. I feel like you should probably have brought that in to turn it in with the thing covered up. But oh my god, Baby Yoda is the cutest thing I have seen in such a long time. Oh my god. I don't usually gush about this kind of thing, but it's just amazing. But he takes it, and this is where I started to get like a little like distraught. He takes it to Werner Herzog. He takes it to the Imperial little outpost and hands it over. He asks about how many fobs they sent out, and he was like, I sent them out to everybody. I was just like, I don't care. Whoever got here got it with the prize, they get the money. But it still begs the question because because it becomes clear with a conversation that's overheard later that Werner Herzog definitely does not want this thing alive. I think he, in good faith to the doctor, gave the Mandalorian the yay or nay to bring it in alive or not, because maybe he could bring it in. But he wants this thing dead. It becomes very apparent by the end of this. But he delivers it. He takes all of the Beskar. He asks him what he's going to do with it, and they talk about how you're a bounty hunter. It's not part of your code to ask about these kind of things. So he just takes it, goes back. Great little moment in the Enclave when he takes the full crate of Beskar to the blacksmith, and you see all of the other Mandalorians just eyeballing him. And she says, like, this amount of Beskar is just going to be like, we're going to have a lot to do with this. We get so much about little nuggets, but so much to the Mandalorian culture and way of life. This is the way. So many quotes already from this show. I have spoken. This is the way. I love it. So he goes in, he talks out, he gives him the armor, and then he gets like berated by this large infantry Mandalorian who comes in and chastises him for accepting this reward from an Imperial outpost, because they find out that the Beskars, again, like his previous reward, was stamped with their signet of the Empire, and the Empire, we're getting little nuggets of it, but apparently is also a result, like I thought, was the reason behind the purge of the Mandalorians. Not only did they purge the Jedi, they purged the Mandalorians because of the level of threat the Mandalorians posed as a military force, or what it could mean to have them floating around out there. So I guess that has to do with it, because there's definitely some heat between these surviving Mandalorians and the reason that they're hiding. It was like, we can only go above surface one at a time. We got to stay secret, stay in hiding because of the Empire, because of the Great Purge. But that aside, they have their little fight. They talk about how their merits as Mandalorians. They get a little scuff. the blacksmith is just like, have you done these things? Have you ever taken off your helmet? Have you ever had anybody take off your helmet? No, you did this stuff because this is the way, and that makes you a Mandalorian. And the other guy's like, oh, you're right. He's my brother. Not in those words, but the same kind of sense. You get that vibe, like this tribal unit vibe from everybody there. And I really dig it because we're building this lore slowly and steadily out of this. And they forge him full Beskar armor for him to wear. And they're like, you know, this is what you asked for. You wanted it. He's like, because your armor took damage in this last mission. He's like, just no. Walking around in that shiny Beskar armor is going to turn some heads and gather some attention. People are going to eyeball it for it because they can take you out and get that metal for themselves. They'll do it. She does the smelting, the hammering, and all that kind of stuff. We can get more glimpses of the flashbacks that we saw the last time this happened. The last time they forged his pauldron, and we get bigger glimpses, and we actually get to see clear view the super battle droids just taking people out. And then there's a loud blast. You see his parents, what we can assume is his parents, put him down in that little bunker, and there's the loud explosion, and then the doors opened by the super battle droid, and that's where the flashbacks cut off. So he was found by a super battle droid. So again, the PTSD with the droids, the apprehension of droids, definitely warranted by the Clone Wars thing. But it makes me wonder if there's a deeper connection here between him personally. Again, like I said, maybe he saw Yoda, maybe Yoda saved him from this, because they made it a point to close off before him being found by the super battle droid. So maybe we're going to find out what went on there, what more. We're going to get more of these little nuggets about his backstory, but it's just, ooh, it's so good. Seeing the super battle droids back in action outside of the Clone Wars, in the middle of the Clone Wars again, was just a nice little sight. I do got to talk about before they landed, though. There was this nice little, it calls back to at the end of the episode when he lands, before he takes Baby Yoda into the town to claim the bounty. There's this little moment where Yoda, again, Baby Yoda, gets out of the crib and starts messing with one of the throttle knobs and ends up screwing off the top knob off of it and playing and trying to suck on it in its mouth and stuff. And he's like, stop it, that's not a toy, and puts it back. And we'll get back to that because it comes back. It's so freaking cute. And even that's just a little moment because he's like, this thing, I got a little bit of a bond with it. But after he gets his armor, he goes to talk to Grief about it. And he's like, hey, bounty code, we don't deal with it. We don't ask questions. Sorry. And he takes a bounty. He starts to think about just leaving it behind him, forgetting about the kid and going off to his next job. But then he looks down and he sees the little throttle knob missing the little top. And he's just like, that kid, man, so good. Such a good scene. It got me. And then he's throttles down the ship, powers down everything off, and he just starts scoping out the Imperial base. And this is where things in this episode just go insane. Before he infiltrates, he scopes it out with his rifle, and he can overhear the conversation between Werner Herzog and the Doctor. And that's where you hear something interesting. And it leads credence to some people's theories, I think. He's like, extract what you need from the kid. I don't remember the exact words, but he does say, extract what you need and dispose of it, something along those lines. You hear the Doctor reiterate, but he ordered to have it brought back alive. But Werner Herzog was like, nope, get what you need, get it done, and we're getting rid of this thing. So somebody wants this thing alive, and this is all in operation under somebody else. Could this be Snoke? Could this be Palpatine? Could the extractions, what some people think is, are they trying to find a way to extract midichlorians and imbue the Force into other beings or other people? Is this a way of trying to replicate the birth or cloning or existence of a Jedi? And does this play into a greater part of how Palpatine comes back in Rise of Skywalker? Who knows? It's definitely, the plot is definitely thickening, but man, this infiltration, he scopes in, he blows a hole in the wall, and he's just baiting out these stormtroopers and just fading in the shadows. And he is just like a hunter stalking his prey, man. He is an assassin. He goes full on just murder mode. He even like hides in the shadows, grapples a stormtrooper back and knifes him in the back of the head right under the cuff of his armor. and just gets him and takes him out. And it's just awesome. Even gets to a point where he gets surrounded by a bunch of them. And during the blacksmithing scene, they craft him these things they call whistling birds. It looks like a bunch of mini rockets. And in that moment, he just has his head down. He's like, stop, I got something valuable. Let me set it down and we'll talk about this. And when he sets down the kid, he lets them fly and they just home in on all the stormtroopers around him and take them all out. And it's in that moment when he escapes the facility, all the fobs, because all the bounty hunters that failed to get this kid and lived or had not managed to even get there were all just jealous of him coming in to actually claim the reward. And now all of the tracking fobs that they game out, because Grief did say everybody in the cantina had a fob because they just needed this thing dead or captured or whatever. And they all reactivate and everybody in the guild starts hunting Mando. And it becomes this John Wick 2 walk through New York when everyone down the alley in this town is turning their heads, looking at you, watching your movements as you're walking out with this kid wrapped up in a blanket. And then he gets surrounded right before he gets out of the town to his ship. They're like, hand over the kid and we'll let you go. And we'll talk about this. We'll work it out. And he's like, all right. He goes to set the kid down. And as he does it, he just whoop-ah! And that's where things just go crazy. Takes cover, blasting people left and right. He gets just enough leeway to get his rifle out and starts disintegrating people left and right. And then just before he finally starts to get overwhelmed, right when you think, they're gonna take him down, they're gonna get the kid, the entire enclave of Mandalorians reveal themselves and just come in. Jetpacks are flying around, they're blasting away, shooting the rockets, flamethrowering people. Then you had that heavy infantry Mandalorian who was giving him grief back then, just drop down with a giant laser minigun and just start going. And he's like, we'll hold him off. Get out of here. He's like, I'm sorry. We're going to have to reload the enclave. And he's like, we'll do it together. This is the way. And it's just, man, just stuff like that. The reinforcements, the family who, no matter what, has your back, the team, the unit, the tribe, just their culture. Now, no matter what, no matter how their personal grievances are, you are part of the group and they will have your back. And good Lord, they just massacre all these people. They just take out the entire bounty guild from what I can see. And you just see people, he gets to the ship. Grief manages to sneak away and get in there. The Mando hits the switch on one of the carbonite freezers and it spreads out the dust and the air and whatnot to give himself some cover. He blasts freaking Grief right off of the ship. Luckily enough, I don't know if Grief lived because he also was paid off with Beskar armor and he had it in that pocket in his breast pocket. And man, makes me wonder if that was just happenstance or if, Mando actually didn't want to kill him and knew to shoot there, because I think if he wanted him dead, he would have just shot him in the face or just the heart. Well, I mean, he did technically shoot him in the heart because that's where it would have been. So I don't know. Maybe he knew about the Beskar armor being placed there because he did see it earlier in the bar. So maybe he didn't mean to kill him. Maybe he actually did try to kill him. I don't know. But either way, he goes off. He powers up the ship. He starts taking off. That's when we see Grief actually survive the shot. And, he's looking down. And just before he breaks out of orbit, you got the heavy infantry Mandalorian jetpacking by, giving him the salute and the good to go. And that's where you have a little moment where he's just like, Mando's just talks to himself. He's like, I got to get me a jetpack. I got to get me one of those. And then he looks down, he sees Baby Yoda waking up, yawning, cooing like he does, and he takes off the little throttle knob and hands it to him. It's so adorable, and he flies off and leaves the world, going off to who knows where from here at this point forward. This episode was off the chain. The action was great. The thrill, there's so many things in this, and this was directed by Deborah Choi, who is going to be the showrunner for the Kenobi show. And the way she helmed this, I loved every bit. The pacing, the shots, the setup, the tone, the way the action was all filmed. I thought this was just fantastic. This episode, 10 out of freaking 10. Oh, so who knows where? I don't know how it's going to top that. I don't know how they're going to top this. This was so freaking awesome. Who knows? We'll see. But I love the whole growth of the Mandalorian culture that they've been dishing out in this in bits. I can't wait to see what we get. This episode just blew me away. I just can't wait to see where this goes from here. And I was so worried he was going to actually leave the kid there. And I was like, oh no, oh no, oh, Mando, why? No, Mando got a heart. Mando got a heart. I loved it. I love this episode. There's only 8 episodes, so only 5 more to go. I think there's only one more episode between now and I was going to say Return of the Jedi, between Rise of Skywalker. I know there's a break. I think it's only the week of the release of Rise of Skywalker that there's not an episode. I'm not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But I want to know what you guys think. If you've seen this episode, talk about it down in the comments. I would love to know your thoughts on this episode. Let's talk about it. Let's share everything that we have about this, where it could go, your thoughts on the way they're building the Mandalorian culture. What do you think they're actually doing with Baby Yoda? Do you think it is part of that cloning project? Do you think they are trying to extract the midi-chlorians in a way to try to... I know people don't like midi-chlorians, but it exists, so maybe they're trying to replicate force powers. I don't know. What do you all think? Sound off on the comments, and we'll carry on that conversation after the video, but that is about all I can talk about for this for now. I think I've touched on pretty much everything. Oh, I did forget. There was a Zabrak bounty hunter. I just thought that was kind of funny, but yeah. No disintegration rays. Definitely Vader made the right call there if he wanted any of them intact to freeze them, because Mando shows what you can do with a disintegration ray. Ah, man, this show so far, man, it's so good, man. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you all for tuning in. Again, if you like this video, please support the channel by liking, commenting, subscribing. And we'll pick back up in the next episode, guys. Thank you all for stopping in. That'll be it for tonight. I will catch you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody, and may the Force be with you always.